you came in with Hofburg, who had raced only 3 times. Close Hatches has won. Close Hatches, he's by Tacitus, has raced 4 times. What's the difference between 3 races and 4 races? Is it a big difference when you're looking at a race like the Kentucky Derby?
Well, I think it's more of a question, I suppose, for a trainer, but I think for anyone, you look at the stats on stuff like that, and it probably does make a difference. But I think the biggest difference with him is that he got to race twice as a 2-year-old. And got that experience and went into the winter already experienced at the racetrack. With Hofburg, he'd had the one start as a 2-year-old, which I think also stood to him, as opposed to what we were trying to do with something like with a horse like Hidden Scroll, who hadn't had the runs. And I think that gets you a little bit behind the 8 ball, trying to bring horses forward that quickly without any starts.
Tacitus is by Tappet, out of Close Hatches, who is a terrific race mare for you. With that pedigree, of course you all don't do bad pedigrees, but still, with that pedigree, you're thinking big things going in. I mean, how long has the Derby been something you have been hoping to get Tacitus to?
Well, I would say since before his conception, probably. But when you do a mating like Tappet to Close Hatches, yeah, your ultimate would be to try and win the Derby. And so obviously this is a tremendous culmination to that plan over 3 years later. And so everything, if we're supposed to know anything about pedigrees and how to raise horses, this is the way you plan it. Doesn't always work out, but it gives a tremendous amount of satisfaction when you can bring a horse with a pedigree like that and get him to the top end.
What does each of his parents bring to the table that you see manifested in Tacitus, Tappet, and then Close Hatches?
Well, I've said a few times that in Tacitus I see a lot. He's inbred to Unbridled, and if there's an ancestor that I think stands out in his physical makeup, it's probably Unbridled. He's leggy, he's got that beautiful stride, very, very similar to Unbridled's lovely stride. Probably Close Hatches obviously had more aggressive zip to her style of running. And but I think what he does have is a lovely temperament, like his mother. Close Hatches was just a sweetheart, and a little bit aggressive in the mornings, but back in the barn always cool as a breeze. And I think that would be that similarity there.
And lovely temperament's not something you always get with the Tappet.
It's not. So he doesn't have what I'd call a Tappet temperament. Strong temperament, but very very relaxed, and hopefully that'll be a big advantage to him on Derby Day. But so far, as we've seen from him, especially in the Wood Memorial, he can get banged around and he can take it very much in his stride.
Hofburg, when you came in last year, ran into a horse that would win the Triple Crown and Justify. How do you feel about Tacitus heading into this Kentucky Derby?
Well, we feel every bit as good as we did about Hofburg. We obviously felt very good about Hofburg coming into the Derby last year. And I think you find out on the big day then whether they're going to step forward or, step back or just be what they are. And, I think the expectation with a horse like Tacitus, he's a big horse. He's been moving forward step by step and probably needs to move forward another little bit in order to get to the level required to win the Derby. But I think the fact that he is a big horse makes us feel confident that he can step forward a little bit more. So fingers crossed.
How do you analyze his Wood Memorial? Very impressive the way he did it. Had trouble early at the start. Getting out when he was slammed and extricated himself, came flying fast. Hard to maybe know what was behind him, but the way he did it was certainly impressive. How do you analyze the Wood?
Well, again, we needed a good performance from him to move forward to the Derby, and obviously we got that good performance given that he took some serious side swiping on the first bend, and still got right back into his stride. I know Todd's horse took it pretty bad on the first turn, and he faded out of it. And so you'd give a horse a pass if he had faded a little bit, or even if he wasn't able to quite get the job done, and yet he got the job done. So I think you have to think that there were 2 or 3 lengths probably lost from the interference as well, and hopefully we can gain those lengths back with a clean trip in the Derby.
Juddmonte has won the top races around the world, not the Kentucky Derby. Put in perspective what it would mean to Juddmonte.
It's big, and the fact is that we're pointing for this race now. Maybe we didn't in the early years. We had a stronger grass program, probably from aptitude and Empire Maker years. We started to focus a little bit more on dirt horses, and we've definitely had Derby fever for as long as anybody that's in the field. I think 1995 was our first runner. So you'd like to feel like you're due, but when you've put that much time in, you don't take anything for granted.